Urgent! President Xi Jinping challenges Donald Trump. Chinese ships enter the Strait of Hormuz. 90 billion euros for Ukraine is now set to be provided. Magyar shocked the Kremlin. And in Chechnya, they've decided on Ramzan's successor. And it's not Adam Kadyrov. Greetings, friends. This is the Pritzl Project. I am Vladimir Timoshenko. Let's get started. So what's up? Of course, we'll start with the latest statements from Péter Magyar. Viktor Orban's absolute worst nightmare is becoming Vladimir Putin's worst nightmare as well. Well, first of all, Magyar clearly stated that Hungary is ready to enter into negotiations with Russia, but will certainly not become close friends with Russia. Here's another quote from Magyar. Russia is a threat, but Russian people are not. And right away, Peskov sulkily mumbled that Hungary is an unfriendly country to Russia. What would he have said if Orban had won? In addition, Magyar made it clear that he will not block the massive EU loan to Ukraine for 90 billion euros, since the decision has already been made. And here, my friends, is another particularly important point. Where exactly has Orban's henchman gone, the current Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Magyar? The day before, as you remember, there was information that Magyar was already somewhere near Yanukovych in Rostov. But no, Magyar recounted a different version of events. According to Magyar Dutch, Péter Magyar is busy destroying important documents related to sanctions. Here is the footage you are now seeing on your screens. According to Magyar's information, Magyar arrived at the foreign ministry at 10 o'clock and since then, together with his colleagues, has been destroying documents. Let me quote Magyar once again. We know that his people are destroying documents just like in the old communist times. The shredders are running at full capacity not only in the ministries, but also in other institutions. But this won't help them, assured Magyar. Yes, it's a telling story. And here's something else noteworthy. And this is the most important thing. Putin is hiding panic, real panic, over Orban's collapse. This is reported by the Institute for the Study of War. The Kremlin, to quote their specific findings, is likely downplaying the significance of losing its most significant strategic ally in Europe in order to project confidence that Ukraine will still face pressure to accept the Russian Federation's terms for ending the war, according to the latest Institute for the Study of War report. All the details will be shared by my colleagues in just a few moments. And next, we return to the studio.
Hungary's future Prime Minister, Péter Magyar, has revealed his position regarding Putin. According to him, Hungary will negotiate with the Russian dictator. The TISA leader stated that dialogue with Russia is inevitable due to geography and energy dependence.
If necessary, we will negotiate, but we will not become friends.
At the same time, Magyar advocated for closer ties with the EU and NATO and supported the 90 billion euro aid package for Ukraine, which had previously been blocked by Orban. Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiha, stated that the ministry is expecting contact between Volodymyr Zelensky and Péter Magyar. Signals regarding possible contacts have been conveyed to the Hungarian side.
It is our firm belief that we have received the right European news from this country, which opens up new opportunities for us, and provides us with a unique opportunity to start a new, good neighborly chapter in our shared history. The people deserve such open relations.
Meanwhile, Hungary's Foreign Minister Péter Magyar unexpectedly disappeared after Orban's defeat in the elections. Hungarian journalists took note of Magyar's sudden disappearance. Journalists note that Magyar was not present alongside Orban during his public concession of defeat. Even though almost the entire Fidesz party leadership and many members of the government were there with the Prime Minister, also Magyar's last post on Facebook was around 4 o'clock on Sunday. In it, he called on Fidesz supporters to participate in the voting. Before that, he also posted a photo in which he is voting in the elections with his wife. Thus, Magyar has been silent for 19 hours already. Earlier, the media published a leaked recording of an old phone conversation between Magyar and Lavrov. The recording indicated that during the meeting, the Hungarian minister regularly informed Moscow about the course of discussions and possible decisions. In addition, political experts and analysts claim that Hungarian officials not only leaked all the EU's internal political dealings to Moscow, but also actively coordinated their actions with the Russians to obstruct Ukraine's Euro integration efforts.
And now it's time for our regular segment. Donald Trump's fails. Yesterday, as you may very well recall, Trump posted this on his social network after receiving significant criticism from Pope Leo XIV. the former American president Donald Trump posted. He posted a controversial image on social media depicting himself as Jesus Christ healing people. How appalling. In the picture, which was generated by an AI, the head of the White House is dressed in a white robe with a red cloak. At the same time, as you can see, a glow is emanating from his palms. Also, one of Trump's hands is placed on the forehead of a man lying in a hospital gown. It goes without saying that after this, a colossal scandal broke out. Trump deletes the photo and starts making rather banal excuses. Listen to his explanation. I really did post that photo. At the time, I honestly thought I was playing the professional role of a doctor and believed that it had something important to do with the Red Cross organization. Trump told the gathered reporters at the White House, "It's honestly hard to even comment on this. In fact, this is a case for the no comment section." But clearly, Trump had no intention of stopping there. The leader of the Oval Office is already actively seeking out assistance from a delivery courier from a well-known fast food chain restaurant. I am actually not joking with you right now. Here is a direct quote. This is fantastic. "It is such an honor to meet you. And I think you voted for me, didn't you? Ah, maybe. I heard that you are a great supporter. We appreciate that. Thank you." Oh, well, you get it, right? Trump is like, "I thought you voted for me." And then the courier says, "Well, maybe." And while Trump is busy having fun, China is clearly showing who is boss and hits Trump right where it hurts the most, demonstrating that the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz means absolutely nothing to the Celestial Empire. Here is an official statement issued from the Chinese Minister of Defense. Chinese vessels continue to enter and exit the waters of the Strait of Hormuz. We have established comprehensive trade and energy agreements with Iran, which we will respect and uphold. Work, Bob? We expect others not to interfere with our internal affairs. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and has officially opened it for our use. Yeah, this is basically a slap in the face for Trump, who is convinced he always has everything under control. And what's more, China is already organizing rallies inside the Russian Federation, right on Russian territory. Yes, you heard that absolutely correctly. Here is the situation. Within the industrial city of Komsomolsk-on-Amur in Russia's Far East, there was a significant mass protest by workers at a local oil refinery. The main reason for this is the ongoing issue of delayed wage payments. In short, people aren't getting paid. The majority of those who took part in the protest were Chinese workers. So the Chinese are striking while the steadfast Russians just endure it. The participants held homemade signs in both Chinese and Russian. Exclusive footage of this can be seen in my colleague's report.
On April 12th, in Komsomolsk-on-Amur, Khabarovsk Krai, Russia, hundreds of Chinese workers from an oil refinery took to the streets in protest. According to the Telegram channel Astra, the protesters are dissatisfied with delays in wage payments. The Chinese workers carried signs written in both Chinese and Russian, appealing for urgent help to the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, and the head of Rosneft, Igor Sechin. The mayor of Komsomolsk-on-Amur, Dmitry Zaplutaev, reported that he personally went to the oil refinery to hold an extensive meeting with the plant management and the primary contractor. His direct speech is being quoted by Telegram channels.
According to the foreign workers, the purpose of their protest was to draw attention to the issue of unpaid wages. The city administration and law enforcement agencies are negotiating with the Chinese workers.
Soon information emerged that the Komsomolsk-on-Amur prosecutor's office had begun an investigation into compliance with labor laws. It is noted that the city prosecutor, Andrei Olgin, went to the site. He explicitly stated that if there are sufficient legal grounds, a comprehensive set of prosecutorial response measures will be taken. The government of Khabarovsk Krai wrote that the protest was organized and staged by workers from a company carrying out modernization work at the Komsomolsk oil refinery. However, the contract with the contractor was terminated because the work was allegedly performed in an unsatisfactory manner and with significant delays. It is noted that the workers from China left the center of Komsomolsk-on-Amur and returned to the closed workers' settlement. According to media reports, in November 2021, Chinese workers at the oil refinery in Komsomolsk-on-Amur also staged a protest due to unpaid wages. At that time, they specifically demanded to be sent back to their homeland.
Friends, an important point. Subscribe to the Union YouTube channel to know the truth about what is happening in Ukraine, in the rest of the civilized world, and of course, how modern Putin's Russia is plunging into the abyss. And by the way, about the Russian abyss. about the events in Chechnya. Well, first of all, according to Novaya Gazeta Europe, a new favorite has emerged in the race for Kadyrov's throne. Now, it's not Adamko Kadyrov, the heavy-set young man who beats prisoners and frequently gets into serious car accidents, but it is Ramzan's eldest son, Akhmat Kadyrov. And there's real lawlessness happening in Chechnya right now. The judicial body known as the so-called court in Grozny has officially declared the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria a terrorist organization and has banned all of its activities on the territory of the Russian Federation. Further comprehensive details regarding this absolute nonsense are coming up right now in our exclusive report.
Against the backdrop of a new round of war between the US and Iran, which began at the end of February 2026 with strikes on military bases in the Persian Gulf countries, Ramzan Kadyrov made an unexpected statement. The head of Chechnya publicly refused to send his units to fight on the side of Tehran. The official explanation is as follows. According to Kadyrov, Iran is attacking our brothers. That's a quote. He is referring to the countries of the Persian Gulf, including the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, with whose leaders he has close personal ties. There have long been media investigations into real estate connected to him and his inner circle, including in Dubai. However, equally interesting things are happening within the Kadyrov clan. An investigation by Novaya Gazeta Europe draws attention to the sharp change in status of Kadyrov's youngest son, Adam. Until recently, he was literally being molded into the image of an heir through positions, awards, and public appearances. But in January 2026, an accident occurs. Adam's motorcade is involved in a serious car accident in Grozny. And after that, there is a noticeable pause. Adam disappears from the public eye and then returns, but without his former political influence. There is information that the Kremlin is skeptical about the idea of making an 18-year-old involved in such a scandal the successor. Against this backdrop, another son, Akhmat, is gradually gaining strength. He already holds full-fledged government positions, minister, head of the sports sector, and is a public figure. And most importantly, he appears to be more manageable for the federal center. However, here's something else that's interesting. In Chechnya, elections are scheduled to take place in 2026. Formally, it's a routine procedure. Ramzan Kadyrov has held the post since 2007. In the last election in 2021, he received more than 99% of the votes. But now his rhetoric has unexpectedly changed. Until recently, he said he was ready to run for a new term without reservations, without hesitation, as someone for whom this issue was already settled. But now, the wording has changed. Kadyrov states that he will only participate if Vladimir Putin asks him to. At first glance, it's a standard gesture of loyalty. But in the Russian political system, such wording is almost never accidental.
There's something else I'd like to say. The vile and nasty little Putin is in a total panic about his own skin. Not only because of Orban's defeat, he's also maniacally afraid of new strikes by the armed forces of Ukraine. Here is a specific case. In Russia, the air defense near Putin's residence in Valdai has been bolstered to a much higher degree. Recently, 7 new towers with air defense systems have been constructed in the surrounding area. 7 new ones, bringing the total number of these towers there to 27. This clearly demonstrates the strategic priorities of the Russian authorities and shows they have recognized new and serious security threats to themselves. That's putting it politely. To put it simply, once again, Putin is afraid for his own skin. Now, here are the details.
In Valdai, the air defense around the residence of the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has been significantly strengthened. According to Radio Liberty, 7 new towers with Panzer anti-aircraft missile and gun systems have been built there. Satellite images show that construction of the towers for the Panzer systems began on March 17th. Some of them are already equipped with anti-aircraft missile systems. According to the publication, the air defense systems in Valdai are arranged around Putin's residence in 2 rings, one large and one small in diameter. It is noted that, in total, 27 air defense systems are now guarding the Russian dictator's residence in Valdai. In addition, a precise replica of his Kremlin office was built there for the Russian dictator. There is an identical replica in another of Putin's residences in Sochi. As is well known, the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin is pathologically afraid for his life, which points to the weakness of his regime. He carefully conceals his whereabouts, hiding behind an impressive amount of security and weaponry. It is also reported that he often uses body doubles to impersonate himself. In addition, the Kremlin leader disappears from the public eye from time to time. At such times, his press service releases pre-recorded videos, so-called canned footage, presenting them as if they are new. For example, in February of this year, Putin did not appear in front of television cameras for 11 days.
Meanwhile, today in Berlin, Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Of course, we will also be discussing this highly crucial meeting today as a key part of our In Focus project. That's all for now. Once again, subscribe to Union to know the truth, like the video, and leave your comments. It's very important to us. This was Volodymyr Tymoshenko with you. See you next time.